Hey, what's up? Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Horror Debate. My name is Jeff Rowdy J. Kier, and with me, Michael Mandy.
This week we're going to be reviewing Turistas from 2006, directed by John Stockwell, starring a bunch of people you've never seen or heard before. Starred Tortillas?
Starred Tortillas.
Dude, you must be hungry.
I don't know. I never heard the term turista before.
It's a south of the border term for
So
tourist.
it's tortilla. Well, what are we getting at here?
That's a north of the border term for tortilla.
I just knew I was going to gum you up on that one. Okay. What are we dealing with here, Mike?
Okay, what we're dealing with, you know, in movies there's always a trend. Something original comes and it's actually pretty good, and then a bunch of people come and make inferior carbon copies of it and flood the marketplace. Hostel by Eli Roth was a pretty darn good film. It was not what we expected. They marketed it a certain way, and yeah, it had a little bit in it, but there was a lot more substance to it than just what they wanted you to give the impression. So it was actually a pretty good film. This is an inferior carbon copy of Hostel. This is a
Okay, wait. Don't put words in my mouth now. Now you're supposed to give the plot. Not bust out with, I think it sucks. Come on, dude. Now, what are we talking about here? What is the plot of this film?
Plot of this film is a bunch of Americans and even a pair of Australians are down in Rio.
Those Australians were funny, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, they were the best part of the film. And their bus gets into an accident, and so they decide not to wait for the next one because there's a bar down the street, and they get drunk. They're looking for the cheap touristy type thrills, and meanwhile there's a plot of organ donating going on down in South America, and they find themselves mixed up in a whole lot of trouble.
Okay. Well, first of all, that bus accident, dude. I could feel it coming, okay? The guy is freaking out, right? Our main lead, Alex, right?
Can you say foreshadowing?
He's freaking out, going, this guy's driving too fast, and the sister's like, calm down.
We're going to get into an accident and roll over a cliff.
It's all good, The bus is supposed to sway like that, right?
Yeah.
And then what happens, some kids get in the way as they're walking towards the bus on the road. They're on these really thin, windy roads like you find near some beaches here in, like, Northern California, and I'm sure they're all over the place. But, the bus is going around, swinging around these like turns that are just insane, and somebody's in the road. The guy's got to swerve, and guess what? The bus tips over the freaking cliff. Okay, oops.
But it stays on the cliff long enough for everybody to safely get out.
That's right, because gravity just it had
temporarily suspended.
It's temporarily suspended to save lives.
Right.
Yes, absolutely, I agree.
So we give credit to the gravity down in Rio de Janeiro.
Anyway, okay, so you obviously don't like this film because you introed it with the most negative intro I have ever heard you do, okay? I'm going to say right off the bat that I had heard a lot about this movie, and this was another one of those hype movies, where a lot of people were asking me, hey, is the Horror Debate going to do Turistas? When is the Horror Debate going to do Turistas? How long do you think it'll take the Horror Debate to do Turistas, And I said, well, it's definitely on the list, but I'm hearing all these different things about the movie, and I really want to view it, by myself, sit down and take it all in, and I don't want to, let any other opinions basically sway me, and I watched it, and then I realized I probably should have let all the other opinions sway me, it's one of those movies that starts out extraordinarily slow.
Very slow.
Well,
it's because it's a 20-minute movie stretched out into 90 minutes.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that entirely, because I thought that towards the end, when everything started to pick up, they could have actually used a little bit more time, I thought, to flesh some of that out. Because it was like chop to chop to chop to chop, from scene to scene to scene to scene. There wasn't a lot of storytelling in there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. At least in Hostel, we had a lot of naked breasts to keep us going for the first hour.
This movie was not without its good-looking women.
Yes, the women were very attractive, but they kept their clothes on the whole time.
The one that was from Australia or whatever, is that where she was the blonde?
And the one...
No, don't cut me off. Now I'm talking about a blonde with braids here. Okay, now wait a minute. Now, was she from Australia? Is that where she was supposed to be from?
Yes. I think so.
She was gorgeous. I don't know where she was supposed to be from, but I want to go visit. She was gorgeous. But anyway, like I say, if the movie could have gotten off to a little bit quicker start, I don't think it would have lost everybody. Melissa George, is that who we were talking about?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we're just checking our notes here. We're all behind the fact here. But anyway, the story started off so slow that it lost a lot of people, I think. And then when it felt like the movie was going to ramp up and kind of live up to its promise, then all of a sudden the credits were rolling. And I think that's where it threw a lot of people for a loop. Like, it really didn't deliver, what we thought it was going to deliver.
Oh, it delivered exactly what I expected.
It's another one of those that if you saw the trailer, you pretty much saw the meat and potatoes of the movie. And it's unfortunate.
Meat, potatoes, and the dessert.
The dessert was good, man. No, but anyway, so there were some shocking scenes, what I would consider to be like shocking scenes. Didn't shock me in the least.
No.
But your standard, viewer might find
pretty much only one gore scene in the whole film. And
you know what?
I thought it was pretty good.
Which scene are you talking about?
The one when she's on the table.
Okay, that's not a gore scene, because you can see that on TLC.
Okay,
that's not what I would consider a gore scene. A gore scene would be more like the guy getting his head smashed in with the rock. Okay, that's a gore scene. Okay, I felt like I was watching like TLC for a little while. Like what are you trying to teach me here?
The Learning Channel. Not the band.
Not the band. Oh, don't go chasing waterfalls. Yeah, okay. No. But you really got the impression that okay. Bottom line. Let me back up. Okay. It was done very well. That scene where she's on the table was done very well. The prosthetics they used, the plumbing they used for the blood, all very realistic.
Yeah.
Even to the point to where when the scalpel was going down the skin, the way the skin separated was extraordinarily realistic. And you never felt like, oh, that ain't freaking real.
Look, she's hiding underneath the table. That's a mannequin.
Of course, knowing you, Mike, you probably weren't even looking down that far. You were too busy looking up, like in the upper chest region, of the character. But that's okay. I forgive you for that. Take my word for it. The surgery end of it looked as good as I've ever seen it. Okay, and
I agree with you. That was the best part of the film.
Well, yeah.
I don't want to say the best part of it, but you see what I mean? The only point that I went, okay, someone...
You know what?
This is the part of the film where they took their time to make it work.
You're only saying that because it was the only full-body nude scene in the movie.
It wasn't full body. It was chest up.
No, it was full body. It was full... You got a shot, a real quick one. It was full-body nude. And as a matter of fact, if you watch the extras, they show you that they did a full-body naked cast of this lady. And boy, it looked realistic. I'll tell you that. It was very, very well done. And so props to that.
Like I said, that's the scene that stands out of this whole movie. That's part of the film.
What I did like, Mike, what I did like about this movie is that, and I kind of have this phobia myself sometimes when we're taking the family. I mean, I don't think I'd get it as bad if it was just me and my wife or just me and a buddy or something. But when you're taking the family, I think we've talked about this before in another review. But when you've got kids and you're taking the family to a place that's like deep, deep away from home, like on an island or something, you're surrounded by all these people that are kind of crooked. And the whole, it's kind of a phobia thing where you're like, how do I protect my family? Because like even the police are corrupt, or there's no police, or you know what I mean? And I really got that when they were saying that there was no police and that, everybody was kind of out looking for them because the guy threw the rock at the kid, right, when he's chasing him. I'm like, yeah, how do you get out of a situation like that? I mean, if you're in that situation, what do you do to rectify that?
Use a little bit of intelligence and don't get yourself into that situation.
Well, I don't think they necessarily did the wrong thing. They went to a bar on the beach.
Got drunk and passed out on the beach.
But they didn't pass out naturally. They were drugged. So, I mean, this could happen literally anywhere. I could understand if they got completely wasted and just fell asleep on the beach, but that's not the way it went down. So if you think about it, I've heard stories about going to like all kinds of different countries where the police are like in it to make money, you know what I'm saying, and to steal. And it just got me thinking about that going, wow, I wonder, bottom line is I wonder if Brazil has taken any like tourism hit. like over this movie, because I mean it's a valid question, because especially when the surgery scene's going on and the guy's explaining why he's doing it, and he's kind of like giving you the rundown about oh you whiteys and all this, it's kind of playing that racial card, a little bit, and wanting to make money from the people that come down there and use their resources and blah blah this and that. I was like, wow, if somebody was taking this seriously, they could get really offended by this and maybe not, show up in Brazil for their vacation or whatever, So
what about the rest of the film?
The rest of the film...
mean, the technical aspect.
Well, no, not just the technical aspects. I thought the storytelling in this movie wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. You always kind of knew who was who. You always, you had a distinct vision of each character, personality-wise. They didn't have to do a lot of backstory on them because they were very vibrant young people.
God, I got confused. The only people I got were the Australian guys and the local who guided them through the forest. The 4 Americans, they could have been anyone.
I disagree. I thought they
especially at the end when they all got muddy and rained on.
Okay,
then it was, and they all started to have beards.
But Mike, if you put all 4 in a box, you're not going to tell the difference. You know what I mean? It's like I thought the characters were very well detailed. And not necessarily their backstory. That's not what I'm talking about. But you kind of knew the girls' different attitudes. You felt the different girls' attitudes, like the friend of the sister, right? The blonde. Okay, she was a well-defined, but yet not on camera a ton, but you always knew her point of view. You knew the sister's point of view. She was a little shakier, a little less confident, okay? It was enough to let you know the difference between the characters. They didn't all blend together for me, okay?
When we got to the night scene, when it was all raining and everything, and oh my God, he's dead, I was like going, which one is he now?
Turn up your brightness.
Which one is she?
Turn up your brightness. Honestly, no. I did not find myself. I mean, I'm not trying to be facetious in the least. I honestly did not get confused in the characterization. And the storytelling, like I said, it was a beautiful scenery. Number one. I mean, the
locations were nice.
Not just the locations.
The underwater. That's another thing I want to tell you. The underwater scenes were very nice. The problem was though, when you're gasping for air, you don't dive 20 feet under the water, so it looks really nice on camera.
Right.
You're going to be staying near the surface.
Right.
I mean, they're all fighting for air and going through cave holes and searching. And next thing you see, they're 20 feet under the surface because it looked nice.
Right.
And I was going, no.
And the local trying to get him to go down there to see all the cool sun rays underneath and the fish and all that stuff.
Going, no.
I loved when he split his head, man. When he jumped off the cliff and split his head. That was very realistically done. And they also showed in the extras how they did that. Which again was just really good prosthetics and good plumbing up there to get that blood flowing. And when they were putting those staples in, man, I got to admit, I cringed. Yep. I cringed. But like I said, Mike, I think I like this a little bit more than you. I don't necessarily think it's a Hostel. It's not.
No.
It definitely runs along that same path, but it's a different thing. And I think fans of Hostel will probably want to see this just to see,
an inferior Hostel.
Well, it is and it isn't. It's a little bit different beast. Okay, I don't think you can compare both on the same plane. Okay, it's a little bit different. Hostel, yes, you had the tourists. Yes, but it was in Europe. A little bit different vibe there. They were doing the killings and the tortures for completely different reasons.
Right.
It's kind of a. It's kind of a copy, but they took it in a whole different direction, and I kind of respect what they did with it overall. I thought it was pretty good. I wasn't doing backflips for it, but I honestly did think it was a lot better than what I thought it was going to be.
So how many stars, Jeff?
Honestly, I'm going to give this a 3-star.
Really?
I'm going to give it a 3-star. I don't think that it was nearly as bad as my expectations, and I actually was entertained for an hour and a half. The surgery scene was pretty cool. They did a great job with the special effects. The characterization was good enough. And let me mention the director because I just got a big laugh out of this. I was watching the extra features.
John Stockwell.
Yeah, and I went, dude from Christine, right? I mean, he was like the good jock, right? Or the nice guy, the friend of the guy who goes insane for Christine. And I was like, I know that face. And, and it was just like, wow. How long has it been since I've seen this guy in something? And he wasn't in it. He directed it. But I thought he did a competent job. I honestly did. And if you go onto the internet, and you read about this movie, which I think is hilarious, is that, a lot of people hate this movie. And I mean hate it with a passion. Okay, because they feel like it under-delivered. And yeah, it probably did for what you thought it was going to be, but what it did deliver, I thought was perfectly well done. I didn't think it stumbled in many places at all. So I'm giving it 3 stars, Mike.
Okay, I'm going to give it 1 star. And the end I thought was way too dark. It was really hard to see what was going on.
Dude, I got to come over and check your TV, man, and make sure
you're the one who set it up.
Yeah, but who knows what you've done to it now, I mean.
Turn it on, turn it off. So anyways, I just want to say I thought that it was a little too dark in certain spots. Some of the characters, it was kind of hard to tell who was who near the end. And I just expected a little bit more. It was, I don't know, like you said, underdeveloped or underachieving. So whatever. Anyways, I'm Michael Mandy. He's Rowdy Jeff. We'll talk to you next week at the Horror Debate.